Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Unlocked live stream. We are here live with you guys every single Tuesday at 2 o'clock Eastern. As you can see, I have an amazing guest on, and I'm going to get to introduce him. But first, I want to let you guys know I am a full-time housing provider. We own and manage 70 rental properties. I teach people how to buy and manage long-term rentals and scale a portfolio buying 1 to 3 properties a month. It's not impossible. We have students doing it, okay? So we're live every Tuesday. Today, we have Perry with us. These are super interactive. We want to hear your questions. So whether you're watching live, whether you are on the replay, let us know what you're thinking in the comments. We're going to have some times for you to kind of chime in. So super interactive. Today, we are talking about the power of leverage. So you have probably heard leverage. If you've been an investor for any time whatsoever, you've heard, leverage. Oh, two of my favorite people. Thank you, John. And you've heard leverage, and you may know, it's a pretty cool thing. You may understand how to use it to buy real estate. I am about to blow your mind, and we are going to show you a custom calculator Perry and I have built together that's the double leverage calculator. We are going to show you how you can take money that you already have invested outside of real estate and use that leverage 2 times, 2 ways to build your net worth. Yes? Let us know in the comments if you're excited. This is something that I have learned recently through Perry, and so that's why I had to get him on here. And before I introduce him, let me turn it over. Introduce yourself.
Absolutely. So thank you. Likewise, I'm super excited about this. So I'm going to make this intro super short. So I'm a full-time financial strategist. I've been in the financial service industry 20 plus years, worn a bunch of different hats, but more importantly, I'm a fractional CFO for several multi 7-figure businesses, also to a consultant and financial strategist for individuals as well. So with that being said, we can get into more of my bio when you guys jump into our groups. But with that being said, I just want to get into the information, Jessie, because I want to leave all the time available we can to answer questions. So there we go.
So this is going to be deep. We're going to be in the numbers, but a couple things that I want to call out. Let me start pulling this up. So share my screen. Okay, this worked for everyone? Okay, cool. So contact the expert. We already know you're going to say, well, Jessie, how can we get in touch with you? If you're not in my Facebook group, if you're not in Perry's Facebook group, all of that information is here. Now, I know you're already thinking, am I going to get a copy of this calculator? Heck yes, you are. So you got to stay here to the end. You got to comment, and then we will send you a copy of this calculator. So you're going to have all of our contact info. It's here if you want to take a screen grab. Before we get started, the huge disclaimer, this is high level. This is built by a real estate expert and a financial services expert. We absolutely cannot account for every single situation that you would ever have in your financial setup. Right, Perry?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And even tag on to that. I know all of us have been on those webinars where they say, hey, this is not financial advice, right? And then you immediately shut down and be like, well, maybe you don't know what you're talking about. The deal is we can actually provide financial advice, but this is what we're doing right now is just staying really high level for financial advice. For something to be financial advice, it has to be customized to your specific situation. So financial advice is set aside for individuals that we work with one-on-one or through our coaching programs, just to be clear.
Just to be clear. So this is high level, really just we're showing you the power. We're really showing you the power of leverage versus the individual exact numbers. Okay. So as long as we all agree with that, and I want to call out some assumptions. So this calculator assumes that the market stays consistent on average over the period of time that you're analyzing. Okay. Averages are safe, but it's going to be a roller coaster year to year. We all know that from any type of investment that we have. It also assumes that you do not refinance, sell, or buy more real estate during the time period you're analyzing. It also assumes that you are not doing anything with your initial investment. So as long as we can agree to that, if everyone agrees, we're gonna hop right into it. Cool. Okay. So again, you're gonna get a copy of this, but we're gonna go through a high level example. We're gonna look at some really kind of industry standard numbers. Perry's going to help me. If you guys have any questions, please throw them out as we're going, and we will get those answered for you. So let's look. What is leverage? The official definition is leverage is using borrowed money to potentially increase the return on an investment and amplifies both potential profits and losses. Perry, what does leverage mean to you?
When I hear leverage, but let me say what it doesn't mean to me. When I think leverage, I immediately don't think consumer debt. A lot of people think, when they hear leverage, oh my gosh, you're talking about going into debt, and I'm anti-debt because you shouldn't have debt, and when you have debt, you can't be financially free. So for clarity purposes, I'm anti-debt, but I'm pro-leverage. I'm pro using debt as a means of acquiring assets that can, create passive income, which is why we're here. So just to be crystal clear on that. So I see leverage as that power, right? Is being able to take $1 and how can I use this dollar not once, but twice, maybe 3 or 4 times. That's when I think about leverage. That's what I think about.
Exactly right. And, we hear good debt, bad debt. So we're talking about good debt here. We're talking about good debt that has passive income tied to it. Both.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's start. I'm going to give you kind of a high level of what we're looking at. So you have a holding account. If you're on this webinar and you're considering buying real estate, webinar live stream, you're considering buying real estate, you probably have something kind of squirreled away. So whether it's a 401k, a HELOC, so equity in your house, IRA, a brokerage account, like a cash brokerage account that's making some money, but it's not really using its full potential. So you're probably here because you have something that you think you can buy real estate with. Let us know in the comments if you have a holding account. You don't have to tell us what's in it, anything like that. But if you have a holding account that you're really trying to figure out the strategy to take that money and buy real estate, let us know in the comments if that sounds like you.
Yep. And I'll add to this too, as we kind of talk about those holding accounts, right? So if you've been saving, so maybe you've been saving in a cash value life insurance policy or brokerage account, right? Those things, those assets that you have, and you're like, man, I want to buy real estate, but man, if I sell out of this, I'm gonna get a penalty, or if I do this, it's going to be more taxes, or man, I'm afraid to leverage, not leverage, but use my retirement because, I want to make sure that I don't interrupt my nest egg. You have money that you have an account that you're putting money into, and you want it to continue to keep growing uninterrupted, but yet you still have this burning desire to get into the real estate game and start acquiring some of those hard assets and getting those tax benefits from real estate. Yep. So if that's you, we're speaking to you with respect to that holding account.
Okay, we have quite a few people. HELOC, working on a HELOC, home equity. Tammy has a block. We aren't talking about today, but that's fantastic. So we're gonna first, before we get into exactly what's going on here, I want you to see this holding account. Section 1 is going to associate to this tab called account ranges. Now, without going into every single detail of every single line here, we're going to talk about the types of accounts that you could possibly have money in that you can use to leverage to buy real estate. Disclaimer, these rates are as of today. If you're using this calculator in the future, they may need to be updated, okay? Vic has a 401k, awesome. Another disclaimer, contact your custodian of that account for any specific terms based on your situation. So what we're providing here is ranges.
Yep.
Things that we're not going to talk about. We're not going to talk about a business as a holding account, which is possible. That's the block. So you can do that. That's more advanced than this live stream. We're not going to talk about a trust as an account. Okay. We are not going to talk about term life insurance or a 401k from employers that do not offer the option to borrow against. So what the options we have here, these are account types that you may have money in, holding accounts that can be used as leverage to buy real estate. Perry, let's do I mean, they can read, so we don't have to go high level, but maybe
Mhm.
call out some, kind of important
Yeah.
factors here, how to read this.
Yeah. So absolutely. So when you guys are going through this, right? And again, Jessie did a great job of kind of giving that disclaimer at the very beginning that these are assumptions. Because somebody may look at the first one and be like, 401k, my 401k isn't earning 7 to 12%. Well, here's the deal. We're going off of what the market has been producing over, the past 20, 30 years. So again, everybody's going to be different in this case. So just want to kind of throw it out there. And that's me, my financial advisor disclaimer, right? So yes, we realize you may not be doing 7% because sometimes people ask that question like, well, where are you getting 7%? Understand we're going off of what the market has averaged over the past couple of decades. All right. With that being said, let's jump into it. So the first one we have right here, you have your 401k and your solo 401k. Your 401k is through your employer. So if you have a 401k, type 401k in the comments. So you're actively contributing to your 401k at your job and maybe getting a match. The other one is a solo 401k. What's a solo 401k, you may ask? This is where you are a business owner and you establish a 401k for your business. So that's the main difference between the two. But how they are very similar is this. Did you know, some of you may or may not, did you know that you can actually borrow up to 50% of your 401k up to a max of 50,000? Okay. So if you have 100,000 in your 401k, whether it's solo or 401k at your job, you can borrow up to 50%. So you can borrow up to 50,000. Now, if you have more, you're capped at that 50,000. But what's amazing about this particular strategy, if you will, is you're actively contributing to this. So even though when you borrow, this is not a taxable event. So there's no taxes and or penalties because this is truly a loan. And what's lovely about this loan, applause going to come up out, drum roll, right? What's lovely about this loan is that when you make the principal and interest payment, it's paid back to you, not to the bank, not to the employer. It is paid back to you. So you are truly able to borrow from yourself from this account to go out here and acquire real estate, right? Without incurring taxes and or penalties. So that's what I love about it. And I think you kind of highlighted over there, interest rates with your solo 401k. If you're doing this for yourself, typically you're allowed to establish your own interest rate. It just has to be reasonable. So you can't say, hey, my interest rate is 1% when the current interest rate is at 7 or 8. And then the 401k loans from your job, they're going to establish that interest rate for you. But we like this as a vehicle where you can still contribute and build your nest egg, right? You can borrow without paying taxes and penalties, and right, it just doesn't report to the credit bureau. So that's something we didn't even talk about on that one. So we really like this as a means of trying to get it done.
So I think you guys, Perry, I am in a 8-week program, his Accelerate Academy with Perry, where we go head over heels in detail about every single one of these. If that is something that you are wanting, needing, you got to have it. We'll talk about exactly how to work with Perry. As far as the kind of purpose of this section for the calculator, like if you have money in one of these accounts, we're going to ask for some inputs in the calculator. We're going to ask for your loan to value. If you've been in real estate, you understand loan to value. Okay. The calculator will ask for the growth rate. It will ask for how much does it cost to borrow against yourself? And these are more FYI. Calculator does not take payment terms into account, but so these are FYI. But this section right here, if you have money in one of these accounts and you don't know your own specific custodian's terms, then these are safe assumptions.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Fair enough.
Cool. So we're going to kind of go back and forth between this between this tab and the calculator tab. So let's hop into here. So we're going to use some real nice round safe numbers. We are going to use $50,000 that you have in a.
Let's go 401k.
Let's go 401k. Love it. Love it. We're going to go 401k. Sorry, if you guys don't know Pickles, this is our little foster dog. He's available for adoption.
What's up, Pickles?
Pickles!
What about this leverage?
Hey, buddy. He just woke up. Okay, so growth rate, Perry, growth rate on our 401k. So let's look at our little chart. 7 to 12%. What have you seen What have you seen recently?
Me, a lot of talking here is to say, oh, you can get 10% out the market all day long. I'm not comfortable saying that. So typically a rule of thumb for me is 8. I like
Okay.
8 or 9. You pick.
We're going 8 because we're gonna run this so conservative. Y'all, you're gonna be so impressed, even conservative. So that money is growing at an 8% growth rate. Okay. Loan to value, we said 50%, right? And I pulled that from my account ranges, right? So that means that we can borrow $25,000 of our own money. How much does it cost us to borrow that money?
So going to the chart, right? So if we go to that chart in there, we might be looking at prime plus 1. If we Google what's prime coming in at right now, I'll tell you here in 2 seconds.
Google it.
Prime rate today. All right, let's see here. I got prime at say 8.5.
Okay. You want to say plus 1?
Yep, actually on 25,000. Let's go. Let's go 9. Let's go 9.5. This is going to be good. We're going to illustrate something really cool here. Keep
Okay.
going. Yep.
Awesome. So it's going to cost us 9.5% to. Oh, this rounded. It's going to cost us 9.5% to borrow against ourselves. Okay. Now you're going to say, Jessie, why in the heck would I'm only getting 8%. Why would I pay 9.5%? And I'm going to say, Perry, why would you take a negative arbitrage?
Absolutely. So in this case right here, so a couple things we want to consider. One, we're still leaving dollars available to grow, right? So when we took those dollars out, no taxes, no penalties, because you could have just cashed that old 401k out. You would have had to pay taxes and penalties. So if you're under 59.5, you're looking at a 10% penalty. You throw taxes onto it, so you're looking at probably negative 25 to 40% that you're losing on that bad boy. So to be able to borrow the money and really only having to pay 1.5% is still a win in this type scenario.
Yeah.
Plus, where the positive arbitrage is what we look at, being able to borrow money at a rate and make more money. If we're in this negative 1.5, right, and that's our cost of funds, we then just have to make sure that we're being a good investor and we're using those dollars to invest in something that's going to make more than a 1.5. So if you put in a negative, or if you end up getting a negative arbitrage when you plug your stuff in, this doesn't necessarily mean walk away from the deal, because the calculator is going to show you the value of keeping those dollars invested.
So even if negative, it may still be a strong investment based on where you put that money. So we're looking at real estate, folks, and we're looking at a long-term projection. So we're going to see how even a negative arbitrage could still net you a good amount of money. So let's keep going. So this is leverage number 1. You have 50K in an account that you do not touch. This is the critical part. You are not cashing out that account. Everyone thinks, oh, I have this 401k. I'm going to cash it out to buy real estate. Absolutely not. That is not what we're doing here. So we are borrowing against that money. This is your leverage number 1. We're taking that money and we're moving it to leverage number 2, which is buying long-term rentals. Everyone knows, if you've been around my page, this is the key to true wealth. True wealth. Your little 8% on 50K, it's great. I'm so proud of you. Honestly, like, that's a great start. No. When I was starting, I definitely did not have 50K. I genuinely am proud of you for having that there. But this is how you that came off so mean. If you are just leaving it there, you're leaving so much money on the table. You got to take it and you got to work with it. So let's move to leverage number 2. Down payment. If you are using the BRRRR method, which 30-second summary, you buy, you renovate, you rent, you refinance, you repeat. The perfect BRRRR means that you say put 100 in, you refinanced and pulled 100 out. You have zero money of your own money in the deal. Is that fantastic? Yes. Is it possible? Yes. Okay. Is it likely every single time in the market that we're in today? No. So we're leaving right now, leaving in the deal after all is said and done on a refi. We're leaving about 10% in the deal. So if that means I have 25K I can use, I can go buy $250,000 worth of real estate. And this is a small example. We're gonna supercharge this towards the end of the session. So this is a small example. So if that portfolio value is appreciating at, we're gonna be so conservative at 5%. Year over year, your property value is gaining 5%. Okay. If we're using the 1% rule, if you know anything about underwriting deals, the 1% rule basically states that every month your rent is 1% of its, here's an assumption. So it's 1% of your all-in value, which is purchase and rehab. We're doing 1% of portfolio value. So again, it's on the conservative side. So we're going to do 1%. So that means Todd's saying 3 is conservative. We could go nationwide. Nationwide, 3 is conservative. In Central Ohio, 5 is conservative. I mean, we're 7, 8, 9, 10%. So we're going to run it with 5. 1% rule. So that means that every month your $250,000 property is gross, high level before any expenses, bringing in $2,500 a month or $30,000 a year. This is before any expenses. Okay. But we have a mortgage on that. We have $225,000 mortgage, and that's because it's worth $250,000, but we only put 10% down, so we financed 90% of it. That's how we got there, right? So you're financed at 90%. Our interest rate will go 8. We'll be conservative. We're seeing mid 7s right now. Okay, so this assumes a 30-year fixed amortization. Net profit. So your EBITDA was estimated earnings before taxes and interest. Yeah.
You speak my language right now.
I went to business school. So this is after all expenses and mortgages are accounted for, but it is pre-tax. So I have this number based on my own portfolio. If you own rentals, I really, really, really want you to know this number for yourself. We are keeping, and some of y'all are going to be so offended, but I promise we're keeping 5% as profits of gross after all is said and done. I have teams, I have maintenance, I have mortgages. I mean, I have it all. So our net profit we are keeping is $1,500 a year. Does not sound sexy. I have screamed it from the rooftops. Cash flow is not the sexy part of real estate, right? So yeah, you have some positive cash flow. You have 25, you had $25,000. It's bringing in $1,500 a year in cash flow alone. Okay. Any questions on, or anything you want to chime in on this part, Perry?
No, this is looking good. I'm really just over here just chomping at the bit so we can kind of show the punchline at the bottom. So as we get ready, and I'll tee it up this way. The reason this is called a double leverage calculator, right, is because we have 2 assets that we have making money on the same time. We have the asset that we borrowed from, asset number 1. And then we have the other asset that we acquired, through other people's money, asset number 2. So I'm going to make sure we have our heads wrapped around that. What we're about to see next, when Jessie goes to the next screen here, is you're not just making money on the real estate, you're still making money on the original asset, which is a wealth hack. When you start to talk to wealthy folks and start to understand how they have accelerated their wealth, they'll tell you that they don't grow assets to sell them. They grow assets to leverage those assets to get other assets. So that's what we're showing here. But I like this in here. My only place I maybe would be like, ooh, we could do, maybe if you're running, this is what I would say. If you're running profit first, we might be able to get that net profit number up a little bit, but that's if we're running profit first. That's for another conversation. But I love the way this looks right now. Keep going.
I think, and I'm with you 100%. I'm actually working to get this up. At scale, it makes sense. On a $25,000, it doesn't look super sexy, but at scale with 70 units, 5%
looks amazing.
Yeah, it looks a little better. So, but we are actually working to increase this. So, this is the part we've all been waiting for. So, the long-term projections. When you get your own copy of this calculator, you're going to fill in everything in gray, And then you're going to come down here, and this is where we start playing around with stuff. So remember, you had $50,000 that you're in your 401k. We're going to start easy. We're going to look at 5 years. What happens in 5 years? Okay. Your account has continued to grow. What did we say? 8%?
Yep.
So your holding account, which in this case was our IRA, 401k, sorry.
401k.
It was a 401k. It has continued to grow at 8% year over year for 5 years. So this is money that if you had cashed out to buy real estate, you'd be walking away from.
I'm gonna say it even different just to make sure we understand this. That's money that has been gone in the wind, not including your tax hit and your penalty hit. So you sidestep having to pay taxes and a penalty because you borrowed from the asset versus cashing the asset out, and keep going.
Yep. So total appreciation of your $250,000 of real estate that you bought. This does not include your initial investment, only the growth. You in 5 years only, you've created $70,000 in equity. Okay. Yeah. That, in Central Ohio, that could be 1-2 houses. 2 houses you own and manage for 5 years for $70K. Yes, please. Okay. Rental profit, again, not the sexiest, but it's there. You still brought in over this time frame another $7,500, right? On 50,000, and you could only use 50% of that 50,000. We're gonna go back, and I know we're gonna go over on time, but I don't care because this is so cool. So we're gonna go back and we're gonna put in a supercharged summary, and we're gonna see how this really plays out. So you made $7,500 in rental profit along the way. Cost of leverage. Now, it was not free to borrow this money, right? We have interest to borrow. So it cost me say $12,000 to borrow this money. My net worth increased by $88,000 in 5 years by taking my 401k that was just sitting there at a cute little 8%. It would have made $23,000. That's, it's modest. It's great. I'm at $88,000 that I've earned because I understand the power of leverage.
Oh, Jessie, and this is where, oh my gosh. So I hope everybody is getting this, right? If you're not getting excited about this, please, you got to get excited about this. Now, and this is where, from an asterisk standpoint, we will put this here with the 401k. The cost of capital was the $11,875, right? But what did I say? Where did I say the principal and interest payment went on this account? It went back to your account. So that was your cost on the loan, but that $11,875 actually went back to your account. That's specific to the solo 401k and the 401k borrowing piece, right? So that number is actually more close to 100,000 now that I look at it through financial advisor eyes, because that cost of leverage didn't go to the bank. That went every penny, principal and interest, back to your account.
Okay. This is why we've said 10 times already, and I'll say it again, this is a high level projection. Every single scenario is different. You get yourself in front of an expert and you find out this 88 is actually closer to 100 because this money cost of leverage goes back to you. It doesn't go to the bank.
Yep.
Powerful. Okay. So you had 50K, you spent $12,000 to borrow it. Your ROI on this thing is 750%.
That's a heck of a ROI, sis.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And so here's the breakdown. Okay. So this is a 30-year of these three key. If you play around here, so this is 5 years, which is blink of an eye. You guys think back 5 years. You're going to blink your eyes and 5 years has passed. Let's go 10. $206,000. Let's go 15. $365,000 because you held $250,000 in real estate for 15 years.
Oh goodness. So powerful, y'all.
And this is with money you thought you did not even have access to. Okay. I told you we're going to supercharge it. Suzanne is actually asking thoughts on how to best utilize 401k in excess of 100.
Oh, that's going to be a tough one. That's going to be kind of an individual conversation because if the 401k is still at the job, so if it's an employer account, we can only get that max of 50%. So if it's over that 100, then we need to have another conversation. Things that may come to mind: can we do an in-service withdrawal for a short time? But that's going to be plan specific. So that's more of an individualized question. But we can, definitely reach out to us, connect with us. We can help you with that.
Cool. Okay, so let's move this to a HELOC because I know a lot of people that I talk to are using a HELOC, right? So let's say you have 150K, which if you bought your house pre-COVID and you're in a modest neighborhood and you paid your mortgage on time, may not be crazy. Honestly, it may not be crazy. If you've owned it for 10 years, I feel confident you could probably get close to this. Mm-hmm. So you got 150K in your holding account. In this scenario, our holding account is a HELOC. So let's look at our account ranges. Let's go to a HELOC on your personal home. So we can borrow up to 90%. Okay. 5 to 8% monthly. We have a growth rate of 0%. And now I know the distinction is that your property value is still increasing. That doesn't mean that your HELOC value is increasing. So that's why this is 0, but it doesn't mean that your property value does not continue to increase, right? So 90% loan to value, 0% growth, and then 5 to 8% to borrow, paid monthly. Okay, ready? 150 growth rate. We're going to go 0. Talk to me. Should we put something here?
Nope. I will leave it there. Let's leave it there and see how it shakes out. We may have to edit the calculator, but it's okay.
Yep. Okay. So we'll go 90%. We can borrow. So my 150 sitting in my personal home doing literally not a thing.
I got to adjust my bad. The holding account actually would be the equity available in the real estate. So we're fine with that. Go ahead, keep that growth rate at whatever you think real estate is going to be. So if you think,
I guess my question is though, would you have to increase your HELOC?
Nope.
In order to access the capital, it just automatically increases.
Yep. Because if the equity goes up, your HELOC could go up as well.
Okay. Yep. You guys, this is why you hire the expert. Am I an expert in HELOCs? No, but I know one. So that's
for sure.
Okay, cool. So then let's actually put that. We'll use Todd's. We'll use Todd's conservative 3%. Okay. Mm-hmm. We're gonna do it. So loan to value, I can borrow $135,000, which is 90% of my 150. Mm-hmm. And we're saying, what did we say? 5 to 8.
Yep.
We're seeing 6. So even though the arbitrage is negative, we're still going to show you. A lot of this isn't going to change. So I'm still putting 10% down after all said and done on a BRRRR. My 135 can let me go buy $1.35 million in real estate. That's a lot of real estate. One assumption on this calculator is that you buy it all essentially at the same time. This isn't like you go buy one, a year later you buy another. We can't, that's too complex. So say you go out tomorrow and you buy $1.35 million.
And Jessie, let me interrupt for a quick second here. Also, y'all just made a really good point here. This is showing you what you can actually go out and buy. Right. So at one point in time, we had about $250,000 in capital. Based upon this scenario right here, I know I can go 2 million and above on a potential purchase. So a lot of times we don't even realize the potential of what we could do because we're not leveraging the resources that we have. So in this case, we're leveraging the current property that you live in to get access to capital. And if you have a HELOC for, 135,000, you can go out here and do a big boy or big girl deal. Right. So just again, getting us to think outside the box. So now instead of you looking for a single family, a 70,000 single family, maybe you're looking at a 4 unit now, or maybe looking at a 10 unit, something along those lines.
Yep.
So just throwing out there just to get us thinking bigger, changing.
Exactly right. In so many rental markets across the nation, $1.4 million is a small apartment building. I mean, we're talking like real estate.
Yeah.
So annual appreciation, right? That's going to keep going up. 1% rule. If you're in a riskier market, you can bump this up a little bit. If you're in, class A, really not much risk at all, I would go maybe 0.8, 0.7. But you can adjust this according to your own market and your own risk tolerance. This is kind of industry standard. So that is 13.5 a month, 162 a year gross, $162,000 coming in a year on your $135,000. Yeah. So, you're going to have a mortgage on it. You're going to have interest rates on it. If you are keeping 5% of your annual, you're keeping about $8,100 after all is said and done. And this is with me hiring teams. I mean, I say self-management. You think I'm the one doing the management? No, I have a team. I have team members. I pay to do that. So there's overhead. So after all said and done, $8,100. Let's go back to 5 years. Okay. So this one I think needs an edit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're gonna ignore that for a second because this money is coming to you, right?
Right.
It's coming to you whether you are leveraging it or not.
Absolutely. Yeah. When we adjust the calculator for that HELOC, we'll probably pull that one out, Jess. Yep.
Yeah.
For sure. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Exactly right. So total appreciation over this 5 years, $3,720,000. 3.73. Well, too many numbers. $372,000 plus some rental profit along the way. It cost me money to borrow my own money. Almost $400,000 that I've created.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Powerful.
And this is in 5 years. 150K. You've created 400K in 5 years. Let's bump it to 10. $900,000. Y'all, compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world.
Absolutely.
It is insane. Say you are like, I am in it for the long term. This is it. I'm buying and I'm holding until the day I die. You're going to pay off all these mortgages, 30 years. Your 135K has created about $4.7 million in real estate.
And this is just me kind of just jumping in on the number side, on the financial side. Someone may look at this and be like, man, look at that cost of leverage though. It cost me $243,000. If you have your cash flow set up the right way, i.e. using the profit first piece, that line of credit would have been paid off way before year 30, which means that profitability number is going to be even higher than that, because this is a high level calculator just so you can see the power of leverage. But then when you start to get into the weeds and say, hey, this is the money that's coming in for rent, I also want to throw some money towards my line of credit and get that paid down so I can use it again. These numbers. So what we're seeing here really is worse case scenario for somebody who may argue that, right? And granted, and so we can get into like the details that HELOCs. We're not going to do that now, but just again, that's why you want to work with an expert who can then take this number and start to kind of dissect it down a little bit and be like, okay, let's get into the nuances and other things. But when I'm looking at this, I know that 243 is not going to be there in year 30 because we would have paid that HELOC down or off way before then, which just drives that profitability number up.
Yep. And so, of course, there's no way we could account for every single one of those scenarios, but this is kind of why you hire the expert. So Laura was asking, so when you pay off the HELOC, when you refi in a BRRRR, and that is, I wanted to call this out specifically, so thank you for asking this. That's this down payment. So we're assuming that you paid off everything except 10%. So you do still have some of your HELOC money in. If you go to, if you're doing $1.4 million in the perfect BRRRR, I am so proud of you. I know you've been through all my programs if you're doing that. So if you got this down to zero, it's probably going to break the calculator. But the fact is your return goes to infinity. So if this was 1% down, which is the closest I can get without breaking everything. I mean, this is just, it's crazy. Yeah. So we're going to run it with 10. Okay, you guys, you're going to get a copy. There's some questions in the comments. Perry,
let me see here.
Yeah. If you see any that you want to call out.
Gotcha. Do you pay off the HELOC with the refinance? We got that one. Nice spreadsheet. Gotcha.
We got to
Woo.
shout out Carrie,
Yep.
Jesse Lang, and Perry.
Big
We're
shout
fire.
out. Big shout out. Let's go.
Shout out Carrie.
No, we're looking good. With the little bit of time we have left, just let's
Yeah.
go back to the holding the account pay ranges
Yes,
one more
please.
time.
Yep.
And I'm gonna go through these really quickly, y'all. Just so we can see it. That second tab, Jesse, the account ranges.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant the top part.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
there we
you're
go.
good. You're good. So understand, y'all, all of these assets function differently, right? The IRA, technically, there's no loan on the IRA. But what a lot of people don't know is that you can actually pull money from your IRA, and as long as you put it back within 60 days, there's no taxes and penalties. So that's for certain scenarios. Maybe not a good idea on the BRRRR side because it's probably going to take you 90 days to refi, but maybe that's your rehab money if you would just want to do your rehab money on your own and pull it out. So again, make sure you're talking to somebody. You have a HELOCs on your personal and your investment properties. Yes, you can get HELOCs on your investment properties. We won't get into the weeds with that. The S block and the whole life and the cash value are my three favorite. Those I run all of these except for I don't have a 401k. But I've used my HELOC going through Jessie's program. And if you haven't been through Jessie's program Unlocked, please rock and roll with it. We are, what's that old commercial? I'm not only the president of the club, but I'm a member also of, men's hair club, old school. I'm probably dating myself because I'm almost 50. But understand, I ran this exact play with my wife going through Jessie's program. And we ran this exact play where we used a HELOC. It was about 19,000 to go into our deal, right? We just closed on it. It's actually gonna be finished rehabbed in 14 days. So Friday it should be done. We're gonna have a tenant in it. So we're running this, everything we're showing you, we're running this exact same play. The same way with the S block. If you're wondering what the S block is, this is now where you borrow from your use your brokerage account or your investment account to get access to money. We have a client that we did this with, a shared client of ours, Jessie, where we said, hey, you got this account over at this broker. Have they told you that you can actually use that to get a line of credit? I think we got them a line of credit for like $250,000. And you may be wondering like, wow, Perry, what's the power in that? Their stock account or brokerage account continues to stay in the market. So it's continued to have that growth. And then they used our line of credit to then go out and acquire real estate, right? So again, making money in your left-hand pocket and your right-hand pocket. And then my absolute favorite ones are the insurance plays. I'm just going to sum it up and say here, this is infinite banking. So IBC. If you're not familiar with IBC, Nelson Nash has a phenomenal book, Become Your Own Banker. He's like the godfather of this piece. This is now where you can use the same dollar not once, not twice, but 3 times. Money can go into a properly structured whole life product where it continues to grow uninterrupted. You can borrow, get a policy loan where those dollars, continue to grow, and you can use that loan to then go out here and acquire real estate, right? In addition to that, you still get a death benefit for your family and some other bells and whistles as well. So we absolutely love that particular strategy also. So, but Jessie did, and she gave me a little bit of credit. I kind of just jumped in and eyeballed some things. She built this thing out after coming through our Accelerate Academy, and we're so excited about it because regardless of where you are on your financial journey, there's a chance that you may have access to 1, 2, or maybe all of these. We literally, Jessie, had somebody come through the Accelerate Academy and hit me up and said, dude, we didn't even know we could do these things. We just found $100,000 in capital that we didn't even know we had. We thought we had 5,000 in savings. We really got actually access to 100,000. They got the HELOC set up. They did the S block piece. Now they're just looking for the right deal to jump into. And when you know you have capital, you move different with respects to your deal
100%.
with a certain level of confidence, right? So I just wanted to make sure that we got through those because I know we're coming near the end here. Just quick high level on those. Definitely reach out to us if you have any questions about it.
You guys, we've had amazing interaction on this. Like, I am blown away by how much you guys already know. Really, it's like you have so many pieces of the puzzle. You just gotta like put it together. So some people are asking for Perry's contact. Some people are asking questions that are above the scope of this training. So Perry's contact is right here. We're going to post it. You'll get it when you get the calculator, but please reach out to him. Reach out to him for these more specific questions. Ryan's asking, how's a 457 different from a 401. There's some about, when is it a good time to cash out? We can't get to all these, but we want to answer them for you. So please reach out to Perry. You guys, if you talk with Perry or you already know, hey, I have these accounts, he and I work together so closely. You're like, hey, I have a 401k and I'm ready to buy real estate in the next 30 days. Please book a call with our team. Book a call with our team because we specialize in helping people find their, tap into their money and then take that money and go run this play, the BRRRR method, over and over and over and over until you can do whatever you want with your time.
There it is.
Until you have the financial freedom we're all looking for, right?
And then and then not a shameless plug, but just another one, y'all. What Jessie does is so powerful because what we're showing you is the profitability. We didn't even get into how to use real estate as a tax shelter and the benefits with that whole piece, right? So while you're running this play, how much money are you saving on taxes while you're still working your job because you're able to, get into real estate? So the tax advantages, the appreciation, the increase in the net worth, right? And then be able to understand now, because what the play we're running with our property, I kind of shared this with our Accelerate Academy, is we're taking our income and instead of putting that in our pocket, we're now taking that income and actually putting that into another one of our holding accounts so that we can run the play even faster. So now our passive income is funding the holding account to allow us to buy more real estate even faster, y'all. So it's a total system, if you will, right? So it's a bunch of strategies, understanding multiple strategies into one system so that you can accelerate that timeline to financial freedom.
I love it. Perry and I, if you've heard our story, we met in kind of a kind of unconventional, kind of random way in a national setting, but then we both were in Columbus. We both have Unlocked in our Facebook group name. I mean, the nuance, I don't know, it was kind of eerie, right? So when all that started happening, we're like, we have got to work together. And what we offer fits so well together. It's like actually crazy. So you guys, I told you, if you stay around to the end, thank you. And we're going to send you a copy of this calculator. So let us know in the comments, say, I am ready for leverage. I want leverage. Let's leverage. Something about leverage. And we are going to get you a copy of this calculator. I think we do have a couple little updates. So it will be later this afternoon. And then, I think we're good, Perry.
Yeah. And y'all, as you get to calculator, right? We put this together for you guys. If as you're driving a calculator, if you get hung up someplace, please reach out to us and let us know, right?
Please.
So we don't want to give you a loaded gun and not teach you how to shoot it. So we're going to give you access to it, but still connect with us so you can start to understand the nuances in your individual situations as well. So, but big shout out to Jessie for putting this together. She ran point on this. I kind of just came in and grabbed a couple rebounds and a couple putbacks. She ran point on this. This was her vision, and definitely thank you for putting this together.
Thank you. You're welcome. Y'all, the amount of comments of people wanting this is insane. So really excited that you're seeing the power, because like Perry and I were like little kids. We were like, like, and look at, what if you do this? What if you do this? It's so good. It's so good. So, okay, we'll let you go, get back on with your day. Thank you. And we'll get you this calculator this afternoon.
All right, y'all. Peace.